Imagine this. One of the busiest air corridors in the world suddenly goes silent. No planes, no routes, no certainty. In late February 2026, the United States launched strikes on Iran, triggering a massive regional conflict. Within hours, the Middle East, home to some of the world's most powerful airlines, was thrown into chaos. And at the center of it all, Gulf airlines like Qatar Airways, Emirates, Etihad, Air Arabia, Gulf Air, and Fly Dubai. Today, we break down how this war didn't just disrupt flights. It shook the entire aviation system these airlines were built on. To understand the impact, you need to understand one thing. The Gulf is not just a region, it's a global aviation bridge. Airlines like Qatar Airways, Emirates, Etihad built their entire business model on connecting Europe, Asia, Africa, and Australia through hubs like Doha, Dubai, and Abu Dhabi. These hubs handle a massive portion of global traffic. But here's the problem. The war has effectively shut down this bridge. Key airspaces like Iran, Iraq, and Syria became unsafe or closed. Even UAE and Qatar airspace faced restrictions or sudden shutdowns. This means airlines lost access to the fastest and most profitable routes on Earth. Within hours of the conflict, multiple countries shut their airspace. Thousands of flights were canceled. Airports across the Gulf went into emergency mode. At one point, over 3,000 flights were canceled in a single day. Entire hubs like Dubai and Doha saw major disruptions. Some airlines completely halted operations. In fact, Gulf carriers experienced a near-total shutdown right after the initial strikes, for an industry built on constant movement. This was catastrophic. Let's break it down airline by airline. Qatar Airways was hit the hardest, operating at around 20% of normal capacity. Doha airspace was closed temporarily. Flights limited to evacuation and emergency routes. Why so severe? Because Qatar relies heavily on long-haul transit passengers, and those routes depend on stable airspace. Emirates faced massive disruption, too. Operations dropped but later recovered to about 70 to 75% capacity. Dubai flights were suspended during peak escalation. Aircraft were grounded or rerouted. Emirates' entire network depends on high-frequency global connections, so even small disruptions ripple massively. Etihad saw capacity fall to about 50%. Reduced long-haul operations, lower demand due to safety fears. Unlike Emirates, Etihad is smaller, so shocks hit its finances even harder. Fly Dubai suffered one of the biggest operational hits, only about 30–35% of flights operating. Short-haul regional routes heavily affected. Aircraft utilization dropped sharply. This airline depends on regional connectivity, which was completely disrupted. Air Arabia, operating at roughly 50% capacity, faced reduced demand and route suspensions. Budget models struggled due to uncertainty. Low-cost airlines suffer more because they rely on high volume and low margins. Gulf Air faced airspace closures, lost regional connectivity, operated under heavy restrictions. Smaller network means less flexibility during crises. Now here's something many people don't think about. War doesn't just close airspace. It makes flying more expensive. Jet fuel prices surged sharply. Some airlines don't hedge fuel costs. Longer routes mean more fuel burn. Flights now have to. Avoid conflict zones. Take longer detours. Result? Higher costs and lower profits. In some cases, airlines are flying inefficient routes just to maintain presence. This war didn't just affect the Gulf, it disrupted the entire global aviation system. Why? Because Middle Eastern airlines are central connectors. Without them, Europe-Asia travel becomes longer, fewer available routes, higher ticket prices. Airlines worldwide are now redrawing flight paths, avoiding the Middle East entirely. This has created a domino effect across global aviation. Let's talk money. The impact is massive. Billions in losses for Gulf Airlines, major hubs disrupted, thousands of passengers stranded. Some airlines had to park aircraft, cut schedules, delay expansion plans, and investors? They're nervous. Even regional markets have shown volatility due to the conflict. The big question: can Gulf Airlines recover? Short answer: yes, but slowly. Right now, flights are gradually returning, but still below normal levels. Full recovery depends on regional stability. Experts warn if the war continues. It could be a long-term setback for Gulf aviation dominance, because their entire model depends on open skies, safe airspace, predictable routes, and right now, none of that is guaranteed. The Gulf built the most powerful aviation network in the world, but this war has exposed a harsh reality. Even the strongest airlines are vulnerable to geopolitics. So next time you book a flight through Dubai, Doha, or Abu Dhabi, remember, you're flying through one of the most strategically important and fragile regions on Earth. If you enjoyed this deep dive into aviation, subscribe for more stories on how global events shape the skies.